I've been obsessed with drums since I was a little kid. I honestly don't know exactly what brought on the obsession, but it started at a young age. I'm assuming it had a lot to do with just being around all sorts of different kinds of music, growing up in church especially. But nonetheless, drums was the thing that caught my attention. And of course, just like any other kid, I would drive my parents nuts with that one obsession. So I was always constantly drumming on my legs or furniture or pots and pans or whatever it may be. But of course, just like any other kid, when your obsession is so, deep, I wanted a drum set. And that day came, Christmas morning when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I remember waking up that morning and walking into our family's living room, and there it was. The shelves were stacked up in the corner, this 1970s blue Ludwig Vestelite kit. And I'll forever remember that for the rest of my life. I'll never forget that moment. So basically how this came to be about was, again, growing up in church, this drum set had been tucked away in a closet for years and not been used. And so my mom and the pastor of the church came to an agreement that they would take out $100 out of her paycheck until it was paid off. And that was my family's investment into this obsession of mine. I'm sure they later regretted it, because once I did have that drum set, I had it set up in my room. I'd come home from school every day and play until I couldn't anymore, which is why they started putting time limits on how long I could play the drums. So basically about 5 o'clock, that was cutoff time. So from the time I got home from school to about 5 o'clock in the evening, that was it. I couldn't play anymore. Now, to their luck, the drums actually ended up back in the church because I became the full-time drummer for our church. And so they went back to the church and they were mic'd up constantly. And there's just a lot of really good memories from this drum set. We would not only play every single week, but then we would also hit the road and we would travel and we would play conferences and camps and retreats and all kinds of things. So a lot of great core memories with this drum set. But just like any other kid that doesn't really know what he has, I decided I wanted to get a new drum set. So I sold this beautiful classic drum set to another local youth ministry. And unfortunately for $500. Again, not knowing what I really had at the time. So I sold it, went and bought me another drum set, and went off playing and continuing to play. I eventually sold that drum set and bought an electric kit to keep at home. And long story short, I haven't actually owned a personal drum set for probably the past 10 to 15 years. But I always had a little bit of regret selling this blue Ludwig Vestelite drum set, my very first drum set. There's always been a little bit of regret selling this, especially after walking into a Guitar Center in Oklahoma City and seeing basically the exact same drum set that I sold for $500 listed for about $1,200. Again, I had no idea what I gave away. But there's always this feeling, again, of regret and wanting it back. Fast forward literally 20 to 25 years, good friends of ours still live in our hometown. And their daughter actually goes to the church that I sold this drum set to. They came down to visit, and I asked Madeline, their daughter, I said, hey, listen, when you get back, do me a favor, ask your pastor, youth pastor, whoever, if they still have a blue, clear, see-through drum set. Just ask them. And if they, for some reason, still do, ask them if they would sell it, because I want to buy it back. Well, they left and went on about their way. I didn't hear back from them for a few weeks. And, again, a few weeks or about a month or so later, they all came down to visit. So my buddy Travis, his wife and daughter and son, they all came down to hang out with us. So we're in the kitchen cooking dinner, and they pull up And my buddy Travis walks in the house and he's like, "Hey man, can I borrow you for just a second? I need you to help me carry some things in from the car." And I'm sure you can kind of see where this is going, because obviously what happened is I walk out to the car and he lifts up the trunk of their vehicle, and lo and behold, there is the blue Ludwig Visalite drum set that I had when I was 12 or 13 years old. I'm sure the neighbors thought something was wrong because I was screaming at the top of my lungs. This beautiful memory is, again, right here in front of me. So of course we bring it back into the house, we unpack it, and I start setting it up, and what's the same, what's different, and all kinds of, just the memories start flooding back. And man, I'm just so appreciative of Travis bringing this memory back to me. Now obviously it's not the exact same drum set, but close. In fact, when I gave them this drum set, I'm pretty sure these heads are the exact same heads that were on it. In fact, I know for a fact the batter head is the same because the stickers that are on there, I put on there. I'm pretty sure the pillow that is in the bass drum is my pillow from when I was a teenager. But again, there are some things that were missing when I first got it. The floor tom legs were not with it. The snare drum is not the snare drum that I had. Doesn't have a bass drum pedal or a hi-hat stand. Those are all pieces that I've kind of Frankenstein together from other parts and other sets here at the church that I'm at now. And so there's still some investment that I have to put into this memory of mine. And so I'm looking forward to putting all the pieces of the puzzle back together, and having this memory back is such a monumental thing in my life, something that I'll never forget, and this drum set will be with me until I'm not here. This will be in my family as long as I have a say. But it's just one of those amazing moments in my life where, again, something that you're so passionate about, something that you love so much and that you let go, is now back in your life. I think of it like this. Like, have you ever seen the videos of like sons and daughters? They go and find the car. You know what I'm talking about? The car that dad has always talked about for years and generations and obsessing over it. The son and the daughter, whoever it is, they go and they find the car and they buy it back from whoever it was, and they refurbish it or whatever, and they finally give the keys to their dad. That's kind of the feeling that I have with this core memory of mine, this beautiful classic drum set that I cannot wait again to make it mine again and do it justice, really, to be able to invest in it the way it should be invested in, and the care and the quality, because again, this time around I do know what I have, and it's not leaving my possession for a very long time.